come back after a week in Zimbabwe, and I was down in London for a few days before coming back up north. And I remember vividly having a phone call about, it was the night before St Patrick's Day, which was always going to be a busy night at the Old Courts, and making the call between the three directors that we thought it was in the best interests of our community, our public, to close down. It didn't feel right to have public events going on that would kind of add to the spreading of the virus. That was about a week before hospitality, arts and bars and leisure went into kind of government enforced lockdown. So we closed. We initially postponed events for about a month to give us a period of some planning, and then probably within a couple of weeks of getting into that planning and being closed, the government furlough scheme was announced. So I guess as an organisation we kind of looked at that as a really healthy option for us, support us to keep jobs going and make use of the scheme. But obviously we wanted to make sure that we kept in cahoots with our community and the artists that we work with and everything that kind of the Old Court stand for. So we split off into kind of a really small team, the three directors, focusing on a live and digital programme to make sure that we could continue supporting artists, which Johnny led on. Community response, which kept our kind of community ties, which involved logistics and parcels and welfare calls for the community. And development, which was essentially supporting emergency fundraising, emergency financial support and planning, but also supporting local artists and local groups to be able to raise money.
And the latest comprehensive analysis of deaths during the pandemic reveals that the UK, and England especially, have suffered more deaths than similar countries.
My name's Dan Coulston. I'm the head of sound, lighting and tech at the Old Courts in Wigan. Yeah, lockdown's been a bit of a crazy time. I think it's affected everybody in many different ways. Being a sound engineer, my line of work's completely shut down. There's no work until live events go back on. So yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy time. I've been volunteering, delivering food and welfare packages to the vulnerable, needy, elderly, or anyone that needs to isolate. Today, we've been to the food bank. We've picked up some packages, some welfare packages, and we've delivered them to people that need them. Yeah, personally I think I'm on just over 300 deliveries now, myself. Obviously there's other volunteers as well. Volunteers come and go. People jumped into the scheme, jumped out of the scheme, whereas I've stayed a constant throughout. I mean, volunteering for me has definitely helped me through lockdown. It's given me something to get out there and do, and for as long as I can, I'll continue working with the scheme and I'll continue to help if I can help.
I'm Shirley Southworth and I run Verklempt, which is an organisation dedicated to stopping surplus food going into landfill. So we run a cafe and various food outlets, food share schemes where people can come and share the food so it doesn't go in the bin. We spoke to the council originally about how we could support the council because we didn't want to stop saving the food from landfill. So the idea came about that we would support the council doing the food parcels for the vulnerable people and those with hardship. And volunteering is really, really important during lockdown. Dan's absolutely been fantastic making sure that the food's got to people. We couldn't have done that as well as provide the food. But one of the things we've found is that people need to connect, to feel that they're making a difference, which is generally why people volunteer in the first place, but I think it's been more important during lockdown. People want to feel like they've done something positive rather than just sit watching television all day and eat tin.
Hiya Mary, it's Helen. How are you doing? Yeah. My name's Helen and I've been working at the Old Courts for the past few years. Normally I work in the cafe, but obviously because of the lockdown that's not been an option during this time. So Since lockdown started through the old courts, we got the opportunity to volunteer on the welfare side of things. I thought my skills would be better with the welfare calls, which has been really beneficial, I think, for everybody involved. So since we've been starting with the welfare calls, I found that it's been really good for me personally, because I'm used to having a day-to-day structure with work. I've got 8 different people that I call on a regular basis. I think it's become more than just a phone call as well. These people I do consider friends now, and once this is all over, there's going to be some lunches had. Some people didn't know about the food parcels, so we've been able to, myself and other volunteers, give people information about things like that. So I think that, as well as a sort of companionship through lockdown for people, because there are a lot of people who don't have family and are very isolated through one thing or another, or they've got family who are also in self-isolation due to their medical conditions. So it's just another voice to speak to, and it's a bit of companionship. And you kind of forget that we are all quite closely tied to one another on a local scale, and we should probably recognise that a bit more, I think. And, actively embrace the fact that we are each other's neighbours, so let's look after each other.
Helen's phone calls have really helped me through the lockdown. You just feel better after, It's really good, really good. Loved it. I never wanted to get off phone. We chatted forever, and we got a lot of things in common. It all come out, and then, like Shell Island and all that. She didn't know it used to be a nudist beach, But I loved it. I really did. We had a proper laugh. She made me feel brilliant. I look forward to her calls. Yeah, she was brilliant. Yeah, we've made a date actually. I said, when lockdown's finished, you can come, we'll go to back garden, we'll have a gin or two. On a nice day.
My name is Catherine West McGrath. I work as an administrator in the operations team, and I'm also lead for health and safety here. I was asked would I be able to take over managing the volunteers. So we have about 6 volunteers, plus we have Dan who does the emergency deliveries, and the volunteers will tell me what their rota is, what their availability is. We're really grateful to these volunteers, because every time I ask them are they able to do it, they always say yes, they always come back to me really quickly. I think it's important to volunteer, because I think we're in a really privileged position working for the old courts that we've been able to volunteer. It gives us some kind of structure, for one thing, when the rest of your life kind of feels a little bit unstructured. So it's really good to do something where there is some routine. I think the message I'd like to give is that as an arts organisation, it's, you really feel as if you are a part of the community, and the fact that we transformed into a welfare hub virtually straight away, and we've been able to pitch in and really be part of Wigan's response. I think we should all feel really proud of that.
I'm Johnny Davenport, I'm the Artistic Director at the Old Courts. The Old Courts Live is our online offering, which began basically because of lockdown and because of the restrictions and not being able to have people in the building. So instead of doing nothing, we've essentially decided to put all of our output during that time online. It was really important to us during the lockdown to make sure that we could still offer paid work for artists. Obviously we can't have them in the building, but there was obviously still ways that we could programme work, we could get performances from people sent along digitally and still give them work when they actually needed it the most. as well as some sort of standard, straightforward, brilliant performances from the type of artists that we usually have here at the Old Courts. We put a call out to the public to see what types of things they wanted to see as well, so we've kept them heavily involved in it. And one of the things that was quickly apparent was there was a huge desire for people to write pieces of spoken word. Everybody's got strong opinions on how they felt during the lockdown, how it's affected them. So we're actually in the process of self-publishing a book, and it'll contain around 80 submissions, 60 of which will be brand new published writers for the first time they've ever created any work. So we've so far commissioned, I think it's 343 artists. So, you know, it's a large number of artists that have received not just the paid work from us, but also the platform and that continuation of support. We've had some fantastic performances, a few standout ones really, the likes of the Stone Jets, are a band from South Africa. They sent a performance through to us, went down really well, and hopefully, you know, that's the type of band that we'd look to bring into the building when things are back to normal. We've also had some work made especially for us by a fantastic artist called Kid Carpet. We were heavily involved in an anniversary event for Chris Seavey as well, who's the creator of Frank Sidebottom. So that was to mark 10 years since his passing. So it's been a real variety of events. We've got so much satisfaction, such good feedback from the Old Courts Live. It's something we're looking to continue. So, you know, it's increasing our accessibility, not just for artists that can't travel to the UK, but also for people around the world who can watch. We've had people from Vancouver, people from South America. So it's something that we really need to do, and we've committed to keeping it on.